The latest Volkswagen Passat was launched in Europe 3 whole years ago. It's been quite a long wait, but now it's finally here. Volkswagen took its time to bring this new 8th generation Passat to our shores, but then can you really blame them? You see, it sits in a segment that has been shrinking over the last few years, thanks mainly to the growing popularity of SUVs, which is where most people would rather put their money. The thing is, even if you didn't want an SUV, there are already a lot of capable sedans to choose from. Direct rivals like the Skoda Superb and the Toyota Camry, and smaller cars with more premium badges like the Audi A3 and the Mercedes CLA. So yes, this big VW does have its work cut out for it. But they've launched it at a competitive price and they've loaded it with kit. So what we're here to find out on this drive from Jaipur to Udaipur is, was it worth the wait? Now while it does resemble the last generation Passat, what with its straight lines and business-like nature, it is actually a brand new car. This one is based on Volkswagen's MQB platform, just like the Skoda Superb and the Audi A3. Like the last car, it has a lot of chrome and it also has some really attractive full LED headlamps. But I have to say, on the whole, the look is a little bit too plain and a little bit too understated. It's more of the same at the rear, where the strip of chrome and the small slim LED tail lamps don't do much to liven things up. It's a similar story here on the inside, where everything is all very business-like. Now I don't mind the all black upholstery, but I can see how some people might prefer a lighter shade. And the design too is just so very Volkswagen, what with its horizontal lines and simple shapes. But it is livened up a lot by a few details, like this rather convincing strip of faux wood that runs across the dashboard, loads of brushed aluminium all over the place, really well finished, and these vents that appear to be one continuous slab across the dashboard, punctuated by this clock in the center. Quality, well, really, you cannot fault it for anything. Yes, this steering wheel is pretty much the same steering wheel you get in every Volkswagen right up from the Polo, but you really can't complain because it's so well built and so nice to hold. The buttons are just superbly finished, as are the pedals, as is the leather. Speaking of leather, the seats are wrapped on this Highline trim in Napa leather and it's really soft and feels really comfy to sit in. And while on the subject of seats, the front seats are powered and they are heated, which is a bit unusual. I would have expected them to be cooled in a market like India. The driver's seat additionally also gets a massage function along with memory settings. That's quite cool. As with the last time, Volkswagen has done well to pack the Passat with equipment. Apart from the regular stuff you'd expect, you do get some cool features like hands-free parking, a 360-degree camera, hands-free opening and a powered tailgate for the huge 586-liter boot, driving modes with adaptive dampers, powered heated front seats with massage for the driver, 9 airbags, and neat displays that show how economically or aggressively you're driving. But though the touchscreen is very slick, we wish it was larger. Now at the moment you get only one engine in the Passat. It's VW's ubiquitous 2-liter TDI diesel, and it's mated to a 6-speed DSG automatic gearbox. Now this is the same powertrain you get in the Skoda Superb, and as such it makes the same output as well, 177 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque. As we've seen from this engine before, it's quite a gutsy unit. Power comes in right from about 1500 RPM and goes rather quickly all the way to the 5400 RPM redline. It gives you a nice strong hit in the mid-range, and that's what you want from a nice diesel engine like this. One slight disappointment is refinement. It's okay when you're cruising at low RPMs, but the moment you put your foot down, you do get this annoying drone and you can hear it inside the cabin. You can also hear quite a bit of road and tire noise as well as wind noise. But back to the powertrain, and you will be happy with the performance on hand. The gearbox for the most part works really obediently, shifting as and when you want it to, and really quickly and smoothly. It's only at low speeds that it can sometimes get caught out by a sudden unpredictable move on your part, in which case it might jerk just a little bit and interrupt the flow of power. Now you can of course take better control of the gearbox via the paddles behind the steering wheel, but you can also alter the way the powertrain behaves using the driving modes. By selecting either Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport or Individual, you can alter the Passat's steering, engine, gearbox and suspension. That's right, this car comes with dynamic chassis control, and that means you can adjust the dampers to suit your needs. Now your initial reaction is that the driving modes don't make too much of a difference, but as you start to push the car a little harder, you start to see them take effect. Particularly the steering, which feels nicely weighted once you start going really faster in sport mode. And even the suspension, which though introduces a bit more pitter-patter over bumps, does give you a lot more body control as a trade-off. Is it a fun handling car, the Passat? Well, no, not really. I think the chassis and the steering would need to be a little bit more involving for that. What it is though is a car that gives you a lot of confidence to push it really hard and really fast in a safe manner. But of course, a lot of people would choose an executive sedan like this for what's in the back seat. So I think it's about time we go check that out. Now as you can see, space in the back seat of the Passat is absolutely excellent, with only something like the Skoda Superb challenging it for space in this price range. Headroom is also really good, and knee room, well, I've got ample room to stretch out. I'm about 5'7", Sergis, who is driving, is about 5'8", and both of us are very comfortable at this point. And as an added bonus, you can even flip up these sunshades over here, and Sergis, if you press the button just near the gear lever, it activates the sunblind at the back as well. Now while I'm back here, I should probably tell you about the Passat's ride. Here out on the highway, it does feel quite stable, but as you can see, I am being moved around a little bit. And that's because I believe I've left the car in sport mode. Now Sergis, if you don't mind turning it back to comfort mode. And immediately it's settled down. That's the beauty of dynamic chassis control for you. In comfort mode, it still feels a little bit firm, but in a good way, just like a Volkswagen should. And that inspires a lot of confidence when you're going fast. And of course, if a mountain road should appear on your radar, switch it back to sport and you'll have a great time driving up. Which prompted me to take to the wheel again for the home stretch into Udaipur. So here's the thing about the new VW Passat. It ticks all the right boxes. Sure, you'll have to forgive a slightly noisy engine and slightly noisy suspension, but if you can do that, there's nothing it really won't do for you. However, what it's lacking can't be found on any checklist, and that's a little bit of character. You see, people don't only buy cars with their heads, they buy them with their hearts too. And for this money, you could potentially find a car with a little bit more pizzazz than this Passat. However, if being understated is your thing, I can assure you, it's hard to find a more competent car than this.